Hi everyone, it's your girl Felicia. Hi Felicia. Spring is in the air and today I will be making a delicious moist cake. The cake that I will be making is a nutty banana bundt cake, and get this, with pecans and coconut glaze. It is delicious, super moist, and I know that it will be one that you and your family will surely enjoy. With no delays, let's get to it. Before we get started mixing our ingredients up together, I want to talk about the Bundt pan. Yes, the Bundt pan. Because this recipe has a lot of ingredients, 15 for just the cake part, but you're going to need a large Bundt pan. My Bundt pan right here holds 14 cups. And how did I know that? I took a measuring cup. You can get a measuring cup. This is a 2-cup measuring cup, or you can use a 1-cup measuring cup. And put some water in it, and then just keep filling up your Bundt pan until it get almost to the top, and you'll know how many cups that you have. But I recommend you have anywhere between a 10 to 12. Get a 14 like I do. If you don't, any extra batter, just make you some cupcakes. And also, this temperature for this cake, 325 degrees. Do not set it on 350 now. 325. Okay? And then make sure you take you some oil and spray this a whole lot. Make sure it is greased down very heavily. And those are what I need to tell you before you start making up your ingredients for this delicious cake. Now we're going to get to it. All right, let's get ready to start mixing up these ingredients together. All right, we got our mixing bowl, or you got a large mixing bowl, and we're going to add in our butter. It's 1 stick of butter. Your bananas, and I did have 5 large bananas, and this is a 2-cup measuring cup, so try to have at least 2 cups of bananas. Next will be our sour cream, and you only need a 1/2 cup of sour cream. Y'all, I tell you, when you make this cake, it's gonna be very delicious. Very delicious, I'm telling you. So I'm gonna make sure I get in my sour cream. I be trying to get all my ingredients out, y'all. I just like that little tincture gonna make a difference. But it's really not. And I'm gonna combine this. And we're gonna mix this together, let it get combined. And then the next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna turn this around some. We're gonna add in our sugars. So we have 1 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. Then we're going to add in our brown sugar. Yes, brown sugar. And you're going to make sure you use 1/2 cup and make sure it is packed. This is going to be a delicious cake. I'm telling you all. It's going to be delicious. Okay, next we're going to add in our baking powder. So I want to make sure I try to measure my baking powder as I go inside. So I'm going to use this as my little lever off my baking powder. And that's going to be 1 teaspoon of baking. Well, no, not 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So that's 2, y'all. 2 teaspoons. And next we're going to add in our baking soda. And I already got that measure out. It's 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. So we're going to add that in. Next going to be our salt. Just 1 teaspoon. Next is our cinnamon. 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. Add that. Now we're gonna mix well. And I'm gonna mix this and I will be back. Okay, I got through mixing that, and you wanna make sure you scrape on the side of your bowl. And yes, it does look like all the butter haven't dissolved in it yet, but that's also sour cream too. But I promise you it's gonna come out just fine. And so I got that. Scrape a little bit. You don't need too much to scrape down. Not with this recipe. Okay, the next thing you want to do, you want to add in, beat in your oil and your eggs. So we're going to have a 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. We're going to pour it in, and this have 4 whole eggs. So we're going to add in our eggs. And we're going to beat this in. Make sure it gets beat in well. Okay, that's all I need to do. That's finished. And next we're going to get ready. We're going to add in our milk and vanilla extract. And I use pure vanilla extract. So we're going to use 1 cup of milk. Trying not to spill it. And 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. Or use the kind you got. You know, sometimes you can't skip on some of your ingredients, because if you do, you're not going to get the best flavor out of it. So I know it's a little expensive, but it's worth it. Sometimes you can get away with butter, but it depends on what kind of butter it is, because all butter is not the same, as we know. Now we got that in, and you can just stir this in. We ain't got to turn that back on, so I'm going to put this in here like that, mix it up, or you can mix it in. I'm just going to stir it in because it's really liquidy. So I'm just going to stir this while it's in here. So that's all you need. This is stirring the milk and the vanilla extract. And next we're going to add in our flour. I already got mine measured out. And you're going to need 3 cups of all-purpose flour. So I'm going to add a little bit in. And I'm going to take this mixer, just mix it a little. Then I want to add the rest. Because one thing about this recipe, you do not want to over mix it at all. And I'm going to take my little spatula and I'm going to mix this in some a little bit with this. Or you can use a spoon, or you can use the mixer itself, because I don't want to turn this on and the flour be everywhere. So I'm making a mess. Look at that. I'm going to turn this mixer back on. And I'm going to let this mix in, and I will be back. Alright, I'm back. I just mixed this long enough just to incorporate it. I did not even let it mix a minute, because you do not want to over mix this batter. So now I'm going to get ready to take this off. And you can just like make sure you just gently stir or whatever. Just mixing up with your spatula or spoon. And I'm going to take this off. And then we're going to get ready to add in our walnuts. Alright, we're going to add in our walnuts. But before you add your walnuts in, I use 1.5 cups. And that's how many I'm putting in my, for my ingredients. You can use 1 cup. But I like a lot of nuts in my, you know, I like to overdo it. Like a lot of nuts in my batter when I'm making cookies or anything like that. So when you're gonna do your walnuts, you want to make sure you get them in very small pieces. And right here, I have what you call a mortar and pestle. And I put my walnuts in here, and I just ground them up really good. Just ground them up. And you want to make sure they're very small pieces. So I'm giving you a little close up at how they look. Cup and a half, and you want to just incorporate it in. Like you say, you don't want to over mix the batter, so you can gently just like put this in here like that, like I'm doing. I'm sort of like folding it over. Want to make sure everything gets stirred down to the bottom. And so I'm getting ready to pour this in my pan, my Bundt pan. And as you see, I put a lot of spray in here so to make sure that it does not stick. So you're going to see how much it's filled this up. And it's quite a bit, like I say, whole lot. And it's going to be super moist because, like I said, all the ingredients is in here. And so this, like I said, this is a 14 cup. It's 10 inches across, you know, wide. And this is a 14 cup. And you see all of my batter went in. And we're going to put this in the oven. Temperature 325 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to stay in the oven to bake anywhere between 55 and 60 minutes. And to make sure that it's done, you want to take a toothpick, do the toothpick test, and you're going to stick it right in the middle after it have been cooking about 55 or 60 minutes. And make sure you have it in the middle of your oven, in the middle rack. So you don't want it up too close so it's baked too fast, but in the middle rack. And we're going to put this in the oven. And once this come out, we can start doing our coconut, toasting our coconut and our pecans. And I already have some pecans already toasted, and I have to do my coconut. And you can also do that ahead of time before you start baking your cake. All right, I just took my cake out of the oven. I did let it bake for 61 minutes. Okay, I did 55 and it wasn't as fully cooked as I wanted. Then I did an extra 5 minutes, and I was like, okay, one more minute. So total for me for 61 minutes. I'm gonna let you get a close up on it. It smells delicious. And I'm gonna let this cool off anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes before I invert it out of the pan. Okay, while my cake is cooling off, I'm gonna toast me some coconut. I already got some pecans I already toasted. And about the coconut that I'm using this brand, Baker's, and it's been around for a long time. It says since 1780. My mom always used this coconut, and it was the best. Walmart used to carry it about 3 years ago, but they phasing out a lot of the name brand stuff to get their own kind of coconut. And their coconut, when you toast it or put it on anything, it does not taste good. And I have to go to an old country store to get this. And it's really the best. Sometimes I buy me 2 and 3 packs at one time because sometimes they'll be out. But this is the best coconut. If you're going to make something special with coconut, get the best. So I'm just going to put me enough on here. I'm not going to really measure anything. And so you want to have enough to go on the cake. And so I'll say maybe about 1 cup. But I'm just pouring this on, and you want to spread it out and toast it. So I'm going to spread this coconut out. And make sure you watch it. And I do have my temperature on 325. I may bump it up to 350. So toast you some coconut and pecans. I'm telling you, you don't have to, but I'm telling it makes anything taste better All right, my coconut is ready. Look how pretty it is. And my kitchen smells so good. It smells like toasted nutty coconut. And I got a few more minutes left. Well, seconds. Alexa, stop. So I let my cake cool for like 20 minutes. That's what I set it on. Now I'm going to get ready to invert this cake out of this pan. All right, I'm going to do this on camera. I got me a 10-inch board. It's going to cover this whole cake pan because it's 10 inches wide. And it's still hot. So I got to try to make sure I don't burn myself. Handle this a little good. Get it on the edge. So I can flip this over so I can grab the middle of it. So I done flipped it over. Move this board over. Set this down. And make sure it's on the board. You can see the stain. And you don't want this, anytime you're inverting the cake, you don't want to stay in the pan too long. 20 minutes was long enough because if you let it start cool all the way in the pan, it's going to be hard to get out. And then that's the case. If your cake doesn't want to come out, get your cloth and get it hot and just sit it on top of it while it's upside down. Put it on top of the pan and then it'll start to release. So that is done, and I'm gonna let this cool all the way down before I start doing my glaze that goes on top, because you want this completely cool. And we're gonna let this cool. It probably take 30 minutes or an hour, but how long it takes for it completely cool, you want it to completely cool off. I'm ready to make the glaze for the cake, and we only need just these simple ingredients. I'm using 2 cups of powdered sugar, and we're gonna sift this because you want to get out in all lumps. I'm gonna finish this sifting out. Take this, make sure I get it all out using my spatula. Go around with this. Okay, next ingredient we're going to add in our milk. And you can use about 2 to 3 tablespoons. We're going to use a little bit at a time. Because we want our glaze to be thick. So I'm going to do that 2 tablespoons first. And then I'm going to add in my vanilla, because we want to make sure we add in our vanilla extract. And we're going to use like 1 tablespoon. I mean, not tablespoon, teaspoon. No, a tablespoon would be too much. And we're going to get our whisk. See how that is? So I think that's probably where I want it to be. It's up to you. So let me bring this cake over. And if I don't have enough, because I believe the last time I made this, that was about a week and a half ago. I didn't have it so it's thick. So I had enough to go around, but I said, you know, next time I do this, I was going to make it a little bit more thicker. The glaze. So I'm going to take this glaze and go around with it, because I want it to cover the whole cake. So I'm going to cover this cake with this glaze. And then once I finish doing that, then I'm going to add on my coconuts and my pecans. All right, the glaze is done. I put it all around the cake and in the inside. And we want to go ahead and put our pecans and coconut on. And so you want to get you some, and I got my gloves on. You want to start pressing. And I almost pushed the cake off the side. Pressing the pecans, and they're going to fall up against the cake. And sometimes I would do a second drizzle after I get through putting these on, but you still want the cake to be still wet. You don't want it to dry because the glaze will dry. And the pecan's gonna fall. So you want to make sure you just get some on there, and I'll press some on the top. You don't, as I say, you don't want this to dry. So mine's dried some because of the fact I was trying to get everything together. So it's always good to have all your stuff together. I was trying to clean off some of that glaze from the side of the cake. Then I'm going to get my toasted coconut, and we're going to press. And it's good to have your don't press too hard like I did, because you'll probably push the cake off. And this is going to be messy, so make sure you have some parchment paper and stuff down. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back and I'm going to make some more glaze, and I'm going to go back over this so I can get like a double coat, because I really want my push this down. And I'm going to use that, what I already got on this parchment paper. And if you don't want to put any more glaze on there, you don't have to. And I'm making this for somebody. And I'm going to make me some more glaze and put it on top. Then I'm going to cover it again. Okay, I cleaned up some of my mess that I made. And I made me some more glaze. And I'm just going to put some more glaze down here on my cake. And I don't want to make a mess. And this glaze can and will get messy. And sometimes I just add me some more toppings on top of the glaze that I put on there. And I'm going to finish this off, add a little bit more glaze. And I'm done. Okay, I am done. And I'm going to give you a close-up on the cake. I'm trying to do a little spin on it, on this turntable. This is a delicious cake. You have got to try this. If you need a delicious cake for this weekend as we celebrate Easter, why don't you go ahead and give this recipe a try? I know and guarantee you will love it. And it will be one that you want to make over and over again. Because number one, it has two different kinds of nuts. That's that walnut and toasted pecans. And it also has that toasted coconut. And it comes with some great flavors in it. And it's super, super moist and delicious. And if you'd like to have this recipe, just look down below in the description box. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And anytime that I might stream live or upload a video, just hit that notification bell. And as always, have a blessed and wonderful day. This your girl, Felicia. Bye.